Media are the raw materials of meaning, the resources of our sound-making bodies that become sound waves in the form of speech and capacities of our bodies to gesture, and the objects, spaces, and images that we make or find already made and put to meaningful use. The resources for meaning are material artifacts. There would be no representation, communication, or interpretation without the mediation of artifacts. Now, you might think we come to a strange twist in our argument. We have been saying that speech, sound, body, space, image, and text are forms on the horizontal axis of our grammatical schema. Now here, we've put them on our vertical or functional axis. The reason we have done this is because these forms also have functional aspects as well, kinds of meaning functions that are typical of each form. Psychologist James Gibson coined the term affordance to describe the possibilities for action that environments offer to any animal. Like any animal, we can only mean what we can materialize. The very materiality of our media shapes what is doable, sayable, thinkable, and meaningable. In a functional sense, this is somewhat different in each medium or form. For instance, here is a sentence: "The mountains loomed large." What springs to your mind? What mental image do you have? Now we're going to have a look at something that I am particularly referring to. These now are the mountains of the Peloponnese, and I was born in that house that you can see on the first ridge. When I said the mountains loomed large, this is what I meant. It's the same meaning as the words, but it's different as well. Speech happens in sound, and sound presents across time. Speech is good at representing time, but it only represents space awkwardly. Prepositions like near and behind are notoriously vague. This is why I want to show you a photo of the place of my birth and not just talk about it. The picture has an enormous amount of spatial detail that is nearly impossible to represent in speech. Image is good at representing space, but image is not very good at time. I had to tell you that I was born in this house. That is why we live our lives multimodally, because the functional affordances of different media are different, and to make a full meaning, we need to supplement one form with another. So here, in this table, is a rough map of different media. In a functional sense, media affect meaningability. They offer openings for meaning as well as constraints peculiar to each medium. This is why we mix media, why we mean multimodally.
Our meanings are made in the world through the material practices of sight, smell, taste, touch and hearing. Perhaps the most remarkable proof of the power of multimodality is that we're able to mean in fully human ways without some of these senses. Without hearing, people have developed sign languages that are as comprehensive and as powerful as sounded speech. Without sight, Braille represents text in touch. This is further proof of the extraordinary transposability of human meanings. Here's another one of our rough maps, this time of the senses used for each of the forms of meaning. The interesting thing is how radically different text is from speech in terms of its sensorial bases. Text only uses sight, and in its form and media is very closely related to image. Speech only uses sound, though of course in reality these things almost always happen in multimodal transposition. The very interesting thing is that space, object and body are multimodal by nature. Only text and speech are so very different. Another argument we have against the aggregating category of language. Of course we can transcribe speech into text and we can read text aloud, but these are transpositions greater than any of the others across the forms of meaning.